Ladies and gentlemen, could I get your attention for a minute? What we're going to do now is, it is 12:30. Well, actually, 12:32, I'm sorry. And we're going to recognize our past president, Ron Rubin, who's going to be the moderator of our forum. And we're going to invite our candidates up, and we'll begin the forum.
Good afternoon, Rotarians, guests, and visiting Rotarians, and those who are attending virtually. This is going to be a fun day today with candidates for District 11 School Board. I don't know that we've ever done anything like this before, at least with this number of people, and so we're excited. I just want to tell you that the questions that were asked, that I will be asking the candidates, were all provided by our members. So members who responded and said what they'd like to hear the candidates respond to are the questions that we have today. As was maybe mentioned, Jim Munt had this idea, so if you have any problems or issues with it, please talk to him. And the candidates are seated in some of the housekeeping rules. The candidates are seated in alphabetical order. Each candidate will have 30 seconds to introduce him or herself, and then they will have 1 minute to answer the questions. That's a short period of time, so I hope that they can speak rather quickly. After 1 minute, I have a timer. I will wave this to let them know that the minute is up and to please conclude their remarks. If there's time at the end, we will have questions from the audience. And at the end, they'll have another 30 seconds to close. Each candidate will have that. We have 9 actual candidates, and one couldn't join us, so we have a video from her, Jennifer Williamson, who has a video that will be played. But first, even before we do that, I want to call on the Chief of Staff for District 11, Leanne Slama, who will speak for a few minutes. Our Rotarian, Michael Thomas, Dr. Michael Thomas couldn't be here, but we're happy to have Leanne Slama anyway, so please come up. I mean, that's a terrible thing to say. I'm glad that she's here and Michael isn't. Maybe that's better.
I am definitely the B team, no insult there whatsoever. So thank you so much for letting me be here. I just wanted to share a little bit with you about the importance of school boards and why you should be informed about school board candidates prior to voting. So a question that's often asked is, what is the role of the board and what is the role of the superintendent in the operation of a school district? So an easy response is to state that the board sets policy and the superintendent administers the policy. However, it's not always that simple or clear. So, board candidates are nonpartisan, and here in District 11, they represent the entire geographical area of District 11. The board has 6 areas of which they are responsible for. Policy is definitely one of them, and one of the most important functions of the board. Policies include things such as the use of the public use of schools, transportation, school supports, nutrition services, and so on. Finance is the second area that the board is responsible for. The board establishes budget priorities for the superintendent to utilize when developing an annual budget for the board to approve. In addition to the budget, the board explores with the district auditor the internal controls of the district and makes a decision to ask the voters to pass additional referendums or bonds to support the educational or facility needs in the district to meet the needs of all children. The third area that the board approves is instruction. So the board adopts new curriculum as proposed by the superintendent. They identify and adopt graduation requirements, and most importantly, they review student achievement data on a regular basis. The fourth area boards are responsible for is personnel. While a school district has many employees, the Board of Education only employs one employee, which is the superintendent. The board hires and evaluates the superintendent. The board is responsible for approving the hiring recommendations brought forth by the superintendent for all positions. However, they are only directly engaged in the hiring and evaluation of the superintendent. The fifth area, which doesn't apply to all school districts in the Pikes Peak area, but does apply here in District 11, is related to labor relations. So District 11 has a teachers union, therefore the board is engaged in contract negotiations and ultimately ratifies the final master agreement in District 11 on an annual basis. And the final area, and one of the most critical roles played by the Board of Education, is community relations. So as elected board members, public education, while serving as a liaison between the school district and the community, they maintain awareness of community values, concerns, and interests, which are used to develop the policies, the budget, adopting curriculum, and the hiring of the superintendent. So as you listen to the candidates today, I ask you to keep these areas in mind. And as you leave today, I hope you will take a few minutes to chat with a neighbor, a coworker, or a friend regarding the importance of school board elections. It is your job as a voter in this community to ensure your children, your grandchildren, and all children in District 11 have the best advocates for them on the school board. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Jennifer Williamson, school
think
board
I should-
candidate for District 11.
I should apologize to Leanne for that poor introduction. And I also want you to know that this meeting is being recorded and will be disseminated to you if you'd like to see it. But first, before each candidate introduces him or herself, we have a video by Jen Williamson, one of the candidates who couldn't be here, and we'll play that right now.
Hi, I'm Jennifer Williamson, school board candidate for District 11. Thank you to the Rotary Club and thank you to the other candidates for allowing me to greet you in this way. Before I knew I was running for school board, we planned to take my son for his 10th birthday to a Cleveland Browns football game with my dad. So that's where we are this weekend, and it's terrible timing, but I'm sure we'll have a great time. I'm running for school board because I was approached by teachers, because I've been very involved in my kids' school. I was PTA president and SAC chair, and then getting involved at a district level. I've been an ordained pastor for 15 years and currently serve as the youth pastor at Grace and St. Stephen's Episcopal Church. In that time of getting to know the community, the parents, the teachers, and the students, I've found that in order to live out my calling, to love God and love my neighbor, I need to do everything I can to ensure the best possible education for the children in our community. And that means raising academic standards, focusing on excellent instruction and programs that work, like career and technical education that increases graduation rates. It also means a culture of collaboration where teachers, parents, and students feel that they are heard and valued. And it also means building bridges with the community, working together with local businesses and city council members to build bridges to make sure that a thriving downtown has a thriving downtown school district. I'm running on a message of hope, believing that we can ensure a brighter future for D11, where the needs of all children are met. Thank you for your time, and thank you for hosting this. Have a great day.
I do have one word of caution that I want to advise the candidates of. In Rotary, as was mentioned, we have something called the four-way test, and number 2 in that is it fair to all concerned? I have a little red cardboard sign that I will hold up when your 1 minute is up. I'd appreciate you quickly closing your comments after the sign is held up. And I do realize that 1 minute is a very short time to try to answer some of these questions. But please don't make me the bad guy and make me have to stop you mid-sentence to interrupt you to get to the next candidate. That's all on that. And now I'd like to have each candidate introduce him or herself. You have 30 seconds to do so. And we'll start with Dr. Sandra Bankus.
Thank you. I'm Dr. Sandra Bankus, but I only go by Sandra usually. I am a retired principal, and I'm currently a teacher. When the pandemic hit, I was no longer on campus because of the significant impact that we have all gone through with COVID. I'm interested in running for school board because I want to bring my classroom experience, my principal experience, to the district level. managing student achievement, managing finances, and making us all accountable to all of our patrons and our parents. It's important to us, it's important to our community, and it's important to our country. Thank you.
Thank you, Sandra.
Good afternoon, I'm Sean Gullickson. D11 graduate, I'm a D11 parent, and currently serve as the D11 Board of Education president. I was elected in 2017 after being appointed in 2016. In addition to that, my day job is a market president for Vectra Bank, where I've served this community in that capacity for 20 years. In addition, I serve on the National Institute for Social Impact, the Solid Rock Community Development Corporation. I'm appointed by the mayor to the Southeast Strong Advisory Committee. I'm appointed by county commissioners to the El Paso County Block Grant Committee, and a recent graduate of our Colorado Governor's Fellowship Program, and I'm off to a Harvard Fellowship for senior leaders in service to our community. All of these experiences and things I do are meant to serve our community and the capacity of education and our low-income families, and I'm looking forward to serving our district in D11 for another 2 years. Thank you.
Hello everyone, my name is John Gustafson and I'm running for the D11 School Board. I'd like to thank you all very much for allowing me to come down and speak with you today. I'm here because I love District 11. I also love and admire the Rotary. Since 1905, when Paul Harris founded the organization, the Rotary has been an institution of service above self. I believe in that, and so do all of the fine professionals and community members who make up your ranks. I believe in trends, and I believe that the direction things are going on an institutional level are troublesome. I love everyone in my community and want less division. I want to protect our institutions because I believe in them. It's not personal. I'm here for the same reason you are here, because you love who we are, what we are, and you want to protect it. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Rebecca Acevedo Kenderdine, and they left out Acevedo on my name. I have two last names. I'm running for D11 School Board. I am a retired D11 teacher. I've worked for D11 for 14 years. And I've lived in Colorado Springs for over 20 years. I am running for the school board because I believe in advocating for our children. I believe in advocating for teachers and also the community, because the community is as much more involved in who is on their school board than anyone else, because most of the community, they're taxpayers. So I'm running to advocate for everyone, and also because I believe that the best education that we need to provide for our kids is important, and in order to do that, we need to provide the best curriculum that we can institute in our schools and within our district. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Al Loma. I'm an Army veteran, ready to fight for parents' rights. I'm an educator. I have a bachelor's, 2 masters, and a doctoral degree. I'm a proven leader. I was on the school board in 2009 to 13. I got up for a number of reasons. I'm an Hispanic Native American who understands that under God, all men are created equal. I'm a pastor. With all my decisions, I focus on godly principles. I'm a husband and a father and a grandfather. God bless.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Lauren Nelson. Excuse me. Sorry. I am a stay-at-home mom. I have 2 kids in a District 11 elementary school. I grew up in Colorado Springs and attended D11 schools K through 12. So I am invested in our community and how our district performs. Over this past year, I have been watching and listening, just the communications and what the district is pursuing, and grew concerned that they are not focused on teaching kids the basics. So I'm jumping in and hoping to get the district to refocus. My previous career before being a stay-at-home mom was as a food scientist, so I loved that little introduction, and I will be talking to you later. Food chemistry was my favorite class in college. Just really brought chemistry together for me. So I look forward to speaking with you all today, and thank you for this opportunity.
Thank you, Lauren.
Good afternoon. Thank you for having us today. My name is Julie Ott, and I am running for re-election to the District 11 Board. I currently serve as the Vice President. I hope I'll have your vote on November 2nd as you learn about us today. One thing I'd like to share is that I am a parent of 2 D11 graduates, and it is their experience, which was positive in D11, which is the reason I did run 4 years ago and am running again, because I believe every child deserves a great education in District 11. I am a community volunteer with League of Women Voters and Girl Scouts, and sometimes Boy Scouts, and also at Rockledge Ranch Historic Site. I enjoy community service because I believe being engaged in our community is very important to the community, to the greater community. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good afternoon. Delivering high achievement by meeting the unique needs of our students. My name is Chris Wallace, and this is why I'm running for District 11 School Board. I am a parent in the district, and I am a local nonprofit leader in the community. In my career, I put together a track record of high-performing teams that operate with efficiency and accountability in results-oriented and data-driven cultures. I'm running to ensure that each of our students and teachers have an environment that is safe, supportive, and ambitious. I believe that we can make this happen together. District 11 has made bold promises, and we can deliver on those promises. Please make sure you vote November 2nd. Thanks.
Thank you. You all did a pretty good job of staying within, well, a minute instead of 30 seconds, but that's okay. Okay, I'd like to start with actually a pretty tough question, and I'll start with Dr. Sandra Bankus. Your views on teaching critical race theory. 1 minute, please.
That question comes up every time I knock on a door. So critical race theory is what's in the news today. When we take a look at District 11, District 11 is focusing their attention on equity, inclusion, and diversity. As all of the time that I have been in education, when was it not right for us to accept the fact that we are public education? We open the doors and we educate all the kids who walk through those doors. When you talk about critical race theory, it is a theory. It is best served in an environment where students have gained some life experience, where they have an opportunity to take a look at what they've encountered in their own lives as well as the studies they've undertaken. And so I look at critical race theory as being a course, if you choose to take it in a master's level class for general information or whatever. How it drills down to District 11. District 11, as you probably know, has recently opened up a Department of Equity. And so the focus seems to be turned away from academic achievement for all kids and focusing on certain segments of our population. I'm a public school person. I grew up in East LA. I am the first in my family to go to college. I am first generation. And I want to say that public education is the doorway for a better life, for giving you choices and confidence and resilience so that you can make something out of yourself. And that's our job.
Thank you.
As Dr. Bankus stated, District 11 is doing some incredible work in equity. In fact, it's work in equity that's being recognized across the country, certainly the region and the state. And we focus on structural inequities such as transportation, access, things that every student need. And our work is just that, is focused on the unique needs of every individual student. Nowhere in our work, whether that be equity or elsewhere, will you find critical race theory. I, as well as the superintendent, has publicly stated that CRT will not be in D11's curriculum, nor does it belong in D11's curriculum. And personally, I wouldn't support CRT if it were to be presented. And so it's not a position that the district has had to address so much this year, fortunately, because it's not in our district. And so while we will continue to forge forward in our work in equity, because we do believe it's serving every student, we have seen proficiency and performance growth through this work, and I believe in it. But to reiterate and answer your question one more time, that work does not involve critical race theory, nor will critical race theory be in District 11's curriculum.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, everybody. Well, my views about CRT, I'll tell you, I'm a blue-collar guy. I have been in those places. I've been in those homes that have need. I've seen the challenges with my own eyes. The challenges exist, and they are real. Some people have had a harder time, and their very existence is harder. I live with those people. Like I said, I've been in their living rooms. I truly care because I was also once a disadvantaged student who, if the public education institution hadn't been there to catch me in time, I wouldn't be here talking to you today. What do I think about CRT? I think it's divisive. I think it's a whole new paradigm in thought of how we perceive this thing called public education. We should be viewing it through the lens of academic rigor. Instead, we're choosing to view it through another lens. And again, it's divisive. What do I think about CRT? I think that it is a reason for people to go against each other when now, more than ever, we need to be together. Is it taught in our classrooms? No. Does it divide us at this very moment in ways that are inappropriate? Yeah. And I'm willing to talk to everybody because it's time to come together. Thanks, you guys.
Critical race theory. The main idea of critical race theory is that racism is a social construct, not just a product of individual bias or prejudice, but also something embedded in legal systems and policies. Due to the high influx of culturally diverse students within D11, I believe that all students should receive an education that provides culturally and diverse academic information for all races to learn about. I support and trust kids will make up their mind about the facts of the history of our country. I am Puerto Rican. I was raised in the United States up until I was 12 years old. I moved to Puerto Rico because I had to go with my parents because they decided to retire when I was 12 years old. I went to Puerto Rico, went to school there. I learned Spanish. I was fully immersed into the Spanish language. I had no English as a second language or Spanish as a second language classes that they offered in Puerto Rico. It was complete immersion. Even when I was there in Puerto Rico, I was still looked down on as someone that was different because I spoke English. So we have a lot of students that will be coming into D11. I am a retired ESL teacher, English as a second language teacher. We had a lot of students that came from different countries. And it's important that we try to teach them the academic, the history of our country, how to receive their citizenship within our school district. And this is important to me for them to learn.
I'm sorry, Rebecca, your time is up.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The main premise is real deep, but critical race theory, there's two words, equity and equality. They are completely opposite. Whereas equity forces on bringing down standards, equality forces on raising standards. So because of the lack in minority, and as a Native American who had to hide his Native American heritage when he was growing up because we were treated worse than most people, I see the difference. And it was equality that caused me to rise towards excellence. Equity will cause us to lower standards, and that's the excuse they were using for the failure of black and brown kids. And so rather than pushing excellence, they're saying, no, let's lower the standards to mediocrity. That's the basis of that whole theory. It is divisive, it does not help. And in a time where we are 158 out of 188, we are the bottom 15% in educational excellence. This is the last time, the worst time to talk about equity. We need excellence. And until we hold the feet to the fire of this Well, let's say it this way. This present board are saying the same thing that they were saying 10 years ago, that they've got a new system, they're going to do great and all this. And listen, for lack of a better term, it's a bunch of malarkey. If we don't change our direction towards excellence and get off social engineering, we're in trouble. We were fighting about bathrooms 10 years ago, and now you have gender fluid boys raping girls in high school gyms. And that's what's happening now. Something has to change, and that's the difference between equity and equality.
Thank you.
So public education's job is to educate kids in the basics: reading, writing, math, the 3 R's, right? Arithmetic. I encourage you all to go look at District 11's equity policy and see if you think that it is, as my interpretation, very race-focused. This is one of the things that I raised awareness to this past spring in my community. I sent a letter to the district back in June asking questions about their equity policy and the hiring of a Chicago-based research company to perform an equity audit. How much did it cost? Where did that funding come from? Where did the funding come from to hire a director of equity and inclusion? All of this coming back to, how is this going to help kids learn to read and write and do math, understand math? So whether critical race theory belongs in public education, I don't think it does. It's a worldview that is political and ideological basis, and that's not what public institutions are supposed to do. They're not supposed to promote worldviews. We need to keep focused on the basics. And I just encourage you to go and watch the August 4th work session of the school board going over their equity audit. It's very eye-opening of the direction that the school district is headed in.
Thank you.
Thank you. Critical race theory is a university-level theory and practice, a framework, if you will, at looking at systemic racism in institutions and its impact even today. It is not taught in District 11 schools. It is not in the kindergarten through 12th grade curriculum or even the standards. So we need to remove critical race theory as the divisive issue that it is being made to be. It is not the same as the equity issue that we see in our schools and for which we have a policy. Our equity policy in District 11 is one of the first in the state, and it's because our board recognizes that children should not have a lack of opportunity or a lack of resources or a lack of achievement based on their zip code, their socioeconomic status, their gender, or, yes, their race. As a board member, I am extremely proud of our work in equity, and it goes, for me, back to when I was on the School Accountability Committee at Coronado High School. And I could see that black and brown children, and specifically boys, even white boys, do not achieve at the same rates. There is an achievement gap, and we can, through equity, I believe, raise all children. It is not going to lower our standards. We set high expectations for our kids, and we give them the support they need, their unique needs, so that all can achieve. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Critical race theory is a 30-plus-year-old discipline that is not taught in the K-12 system. It is designed for a post-undergraduate examination of our legal system. It is not taught in D11. There is no discussion of it being taught in D11. It will not be taught in D11. It must be differentiated from our equity work. Equity is the process of leveling the playing field while simultaneously raising the bar. Is it different from equality? Absolutely. Is it the opposite of equality? Absolutely not. Equity is the process of getting to equality, and we will meet the unique needs of each student in D11. The ADA, the Americans with Disabilities Act, is a work of equity, okay? An individual in a wheelchair, they need a different solution than a person who is able to walk. That is unequal by definition. That does not mean it is unfair. That is a process of getting them to a place where they can reach high achievement. Equity is about taking away the excuses so high achievement is possible. Thank you.
Thank you. Now the next question will start with Sean, and this one is, should all teachers and personnel be required to be vaccinated, such as bus drivers, substitute teachers, assistants in classrooms, etc.?
I believe that those should be a personal choice. And so I would not support or believe that there would be a mandatory vaccination mandate across the school district or any organization, in my opinion. It's a conversation that has not come to the Board of Education or to staff, to my knowledge, and it's a position I think the district has taken already to say that it's not something we would support.
Thank you.
I'd like to circle back around for a second. In regard to CRT, the firings at Mitchell High School would beg to differ. The new administration that is brought in after the firings have been inculcated with CRT, and they are in the process of forcing the teachers to be re-educated or let go if they can't meet new metrics. And that is the real concern, not that CRT is in our schools, but that people who subscribe to that ideology will use it to depopulate our schools of the teachers and service staff that might just have a different opinion. Now, as to the vaccination mandates, I understand that people are afraid. I've had people that have died personally from COVID. I understand that. No, I do not believe in mandates. I believe in civil rights. Everyone should have that right. The right to protect themselves in whichever way they see fit. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
I am a cancer survivor. I also have 2 other different types of cancer. To mandate a shot, I call it a shot because for it to be a vaccine, it has to have the virus in it. And I don't believe that this shot has the virus. But I don't know how that's going to react on me, how I'm going to react because of my immune system being compromised. So I can't force a mandate on a vaccine that I don't know how people are going to react to it. I don't know how children will react to it. And teachers especially when teachers have to be in the classroom working with the kids and we need to keep them there. So mandating a vaccine that I know nothing about and have not been educated or informed about what it's going to do to me, I can't make it anyone else take it either. So maybe other people might want to do that. Maybe teachers will feel safer if they got the vaccine, but that's a choice. That's not something that I can make anyone else do. Thank you.
Thank you.
The vaccine is not authorized, is only used under emergency orders. FDA hasn't approved it. Nobody in government has to take one, so why should anybody? No, I'm not an anti-vaxxer. If you want it, go for it. I've never been vaccinated. I had COVID. 99.7% of people under 70 will recover if they ever get COVID. So that would be not be a good move. So now with equity, if you look it up and you don't know time, just look it up the history of Karl Marx. That is the wordsmith they use in his writings. If you know Karl Marx, just check it out. They use equity. Equity will, I call it welfare of the intellect because it's going to lower standards. Whether they're well-intended people, it will automatically lower standards and dumb down our kids. We have to raise standards and raise the standard of the teachers and the superintendents and hold them to account for the standards. And that's what we're not doing. This school district running inefficient, I call this systemic mediocrity, not systemic racism. It's systemic mediocrity that is killing our nation and it's affected our school district.
Thank you.
So I do not support mandates for vaccines. I'm very much about personal liberties and freedoms and personal choice. There there are mandates currently in place for vaccines, such as polio, measles, those sorts of things, but there are religious and medical exemptions provided that people can choose to not get them if they desire that. And I think that should be replicated if we're speaking about COVID vaccines as well. So I also would like to circle back on the critical race theory topic. It's a hot button topic, and there's a lot of disagreement of definitions, I believe. And I think ultimately, I just want to stress the point of what are we as District 11 putting our focus on? Are we spending our time and our energy and our resources on trainings for teachers to identify their implicit bias, which is what the district is pursuing? Or are we going to help teachers and staff members identify dyslexia or other things that will substantially help all students? So I'd just like to circle back on that since I had the time.
Thank you.
Thank you. I do not support a vaccine mandate. However, I am grateful to every teacher, substitute teacher, staff member, and parent, and child over the age of 12 who gets that vaccine, because it is good for our community public health. And so I am a cheerleader for vaccines. The science is there. If you've done the research, if you have taken the time to educate yourself, then you will see that it is for the best. COVID-19 has killed 700,000 people in this country. Family members, perhaps some of you. A friend of mine has lost 12 people in the last year and a half to COVID. And so I think, it's a choice. I think it's a good choice. I will not circle back to equity, but boy, there's so much more we could say about that. Thank you.
Thank you as well.
Thank you. No, we should not mandate the vaccine. That being said, vaccines are safe and effective, and it is the most effective tool that we have against this virus. Right now, today, our hospitals are not strained because of vaccine side effects. Our hospitals are strained because of the virus. Right now, today, the vast, vast, vast majority of individuals that die from COVID-19 are unvaccinated individuals. The proof is there. They work, they are effective, and I do believe that while this absolutely should not be mandated for everyone, no one should be forced to take this, I think we have a lot of work to do winning the hearts and minds and demonstrating that this is a scientific achievement, and we should praise that. We should praise that as a scientific breakthrough and truly a miracle in our time that we were able to come up with a cure so promptly that has turned COVID-19, for those that are vaccinated, to a potentially life-threatening to a very manageable concern. Thank you.
Thank you.
As you've heard from all of us so far, and I'm going to join the chorus, and that is it's a matter of choice. As I've talked to parents, as I've talked to other adults in my sphere of influence, the conversation around vaccines has come up many, many times. And my view on that is there's so much conflicting advice from the medical community on the effectiveness and the safety of this vaccine that as adults and thinking people, we have to take a look at your tolerance for your level of risk and make a decision. And once you've made your decision, it's a rational one, I would hope, so that vaccine can't be mandated in the sense that they can guarantee, there are no guarantees. So I join all of my fellow candidates up here, no, they should not be mandated.
Thank you. The next question I'm going to pose in two different ways, and this will be starting with John. It was submitted in two ways. Your views on the stand that parents have no right to determine or have input into what is being taught, that is for the school board to determine. It was also stated this way. Do you believe that it is appropriate for school boards to dictate to teachers based on ideological grounds what they may or may not teach beyond the academic standards outlined by the state of Colorado? If so, what principles or guidelines would you use to take such action?
Before I begin, and please forgive me, I feel it incumbent upon me to circle around again and address some of the comments. No one ever talks about the negative effects on our genetic code in the multi-generational context when we talk about vaccines, or about the real epidemic, which is an epidemic of chronic poor health, which, by the way, can be monetized into perpetuity. I wish we would all talk more about that. Now, as far as parents having no right, I'm one of those people that firmly believes that the school board is elected by the parents in the community, and that it is a very difficult job to interface with those parents who have conflicting interests and conflicting needs, and they are all people in our community. It's hard work to talk to people. It's easy to throw up fancy words and fancy language. It's hard to get down there and talk to people and reduce the divisiveness. And do I think it's appropriate for school boards to be dictating their ideological policies? No! Forgive me for getting so emotional. No matter what your ideology is, let's leave it at the door. We're here to bring our community together for the children. Anything that divides us, forgive me for quoting the Bible. Jesus said, if your hand causes you to sin, cut it off, cast it away.
Thank you.
Can you read that question again?
Sure. Your views on the stand that parents have no right to determine or have input into what is being taught, that the school board determines that, and do you think it is appropriate for school boards to dictate to teachers based on ideological grounds what they may or may not teach beyond the academic standards outlined by the state of Colorado? It's rather involved.
Long question. Well, I believe that parents play an important role in their students' education. If the parents were not involved in what their child is learning at school, they're never going to find out what's happening, or if they're being even indoctrinated by what teachers are trying to push in the classrooms. Parents need to stay informed and find out what curriculum is being taught within the schools. The district, the good thing about our local government is that we are a local control government. We are a local control school board, and the school district is the one that decides what curriculum will be taught within the schools. So, and that's all with input from teachers, parents, the community, whoever wants to be a part of that influence or participate in that. But I don't believe that teachers should push an idea that they have or try to indoctrinate our kids in the schools. I believe parents need to know what's going on, and I believe they need to be a part of their child's education.
Thank you.
Anything that takes away the focus of education should be left out of the classroom. Currently, D11 again is the bottom 15%. They've been like that for a while. They always have no ideals and they don't work. That's where we're at. We got to focus on that, not ideology. I mean, the gentleman mentioned deaths. There's over 2,500 murdered babies every day. More blacks are killed in New York than there are born. 647 blacks are aborted every day, but we don't talk about that. Why? Because it doesn't belong in the classroom. Although we can talk about other things that one side would deem important. None of that belongs in the classroom because we need to teach math, English, science, and have some PE, so a lot of physical activities, but we're getting caught up by all these other things that are coming in. And so my desire is to stop that, is to force the director, force the superintendent, force the principals to focus on what is important. And that is their job to teach. Do I tell them how to teach? No, they got to teach, but I will hold them accountable to the results. And right now, the results are horrible. And so that's one of the reasons why I decided to step back in, because I was frustrated with public education.
I'm sorry. Thank you.
I believe parents have every right to be involved in their children's education. They absolutely need to be involved in determining the curriculum and giving approval. The school board is there to represent the taxpayers and the parents, and looking out for the best interests of the students. One thing that I recently identified was that the Wonders curriculum that my children's school is using is partnered with Sesame Workshop. And as a parent, I find that interesting that we're looking to Hollywood to get guidance on education of any kind. So as a parent, I'm going to research that further, and I think that that is my right. The public institution is a business. If it were real business, it would be out of business by now for the failure rates that we're getting out of the schools. But that being said, we have to keep in mind what we're delivering. Are we delivering a quality product? Are we meeting customers' needs and demands? And that's the parents and the students. And sorry, I'm coming from a background as a food scientist in product development. That's how we operated. We needed to put a quality product in the market that people wanted. And if we don't keep that in mind and keep the parents and the students in mind, then what are we doing? Why are we here?
Thank you.
Thank you. Parents absolutely should be involved in their students' school, and not just in the PTA and having bake sales. Absolutely engage in the classroom and review the curriculum, make sure you know what your kids are doing, help them with their homework. Parent engagement increases attendance and achievement, and it would be ideal that more parents would be involved with their students. The question of mandating teachers, we have high expectations of our teachers and expect them to bring real-life, relevant experiences to the classroom. That doesn't mean that they have to be ideological about it, but we have to look at current issues, especially in social studies, which was left out of a listing of subjects earlier, because social studies is so important to the day-to-day experience of our kids and the communities that we hope to build and the democracy in our country. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Of course, you as voters have a right to influence the curriculum put in front of your students and have oversight over that curriculum, particularly in the state of Colorado because it is a local control state. That is a cornerstone of our representative democracy, and you are engaging in that process right now. We do have elected officials. They do have oversight over the curriculum, and you have a voice in who those elected officials are. I strongly believe that we should teach science based in fact. We should teach history based in fact. We should teach math based in fact. And there is a conversation to be had there. Quite frankly, if I'm being honest, I wouldn't entertain a discussion of counter narratives around the Holocaust as was seen in Texas over the course of the past week. We should not engage in that as a school district. We should center ourselves around teaching facts, teaching kids not what to think, but the process of thinking. And that is how we deliver highly effective citizens that can participate in their democracy. Thank you.
Thank you.
In taking a look at this question, let me share with you a couple of comments that two teachers who currently work within the district went out of their way to share with me. Both 8th grade teachers. One gentleman said, and I teach social studies at this high school, and I teach my kids how to protest democratically. I thought, no, that can't, I didn't hear him right. I don't send my child to school to learn how to protest. I send my child to school so that they can learn to read and write and think on their own, and gain skills, understand the history of this country so that they can be citizens of this community and this world and remember to vote. The other teacher told me, also an 8th grade teacher, these are new hires, also shared with me that he teaches the unvarnished truth about America. And I said, so how do you feel about this statement? Because I've been taking the teacher training classes, some inside the district, some outside the district. And the phrase that kept coming up in these two classes that I was taking was, if you disagree with what you're hearing, then you have, and I'm a brown person, let me remind you of that. If you disagree with what you're hearing, it's because you've taken your white supremacy and you have suppressed it so far down that you don't recognize it in yourself. And he said, exactly. And I thought, I have got to get on this school board. This is no place for our educational system.
Thank you. And then Sean.
Parents absolutely should have a voice in their child's education. And in fact, our curriculum has a very public review process before it even makes it to the board for adoption. And our hope is that our community and our parents are taking advantage of that opportunity to give their feedback and to review that curriculum. The question is whether or not they are. You know, I think that we all can recognize District 11 is not where we would love it to be from a performance standpoint, which is why we're doing the work that we are and have been for the last few years. I'm a firm believer that parent involvement would be a key driver in increasing student performance and success. And I've seen and I've witnessed it in my own home in contrast to what I had as a child and the success and result that my kids have had in school. And I often put myself in that position as a partnership. I'm not the authority in the classroom, I'm a partner. I'm there to help partner with you to deliver that education as an extension into our home of what my child is learning. And I think if we're involved and you're asking questions as a parent, we won't have some of the concerns and issues that I think this question is driving towards. As a Board of Education, we don't have authority in every detail that happens in the classroom. Our one employee is the superintendent. We set policy and guidance, and we expect our employee and superintendent to deliver that and to lead, which trickles down into our building leadership as well. And so there are many elements and layers to this within how it operates within the district. Can I honestly say that every classroom is teaching the exact same thing at the exact same way? It's likely it's not. And that's something as a Board of Education, we've got to remember that our job isn't to sit in the classroom and babysit teachers. It is to know what's happening in our district so that we can manage and direct and lead the superintendent in a very healthy and constructive way so that he can address those.
Thank you. Okay, the next question, I'll start with Rebecca, and this one is, people are talking about the broken educational system. What do you think is broken, if anything?
The broken educational system. I'm not sure if that's referring to the State Board of Education in Colorado or if it's referring to our actual system here in Colorado Springs. But I believe that many teachers that work within the school district, a lot of them are treated differently when they work within the school district. And a lot of them try to provide supplemental materials in their classrooms to teach students. And they have a difficult time because every child learns at a different way or different pace. And of course, you have those students that don't speak English very well that come from other countries. And I gear it towards that because we keep changing our curriculum all the time within the school districts. And it's difficult to try to train everyone within that curriculum.
Thank you. I'm sorry.
Okay. Thank you.
That's a rough one. I mentioned earlier systemic mediocrity. You have an input and an output, and the problem is we have a bad input. Our kids can't read, write, or do math. And so you have them coming into the process and they can't get past their third grade at any level. And then you bring them into middle school, high school, and you're trying to fix them. And if you don't fix them early, you're not going to fix them. That's why we have a low graduation rate. What needs to be done is all hands on deck. I would have every single teacher, every single PE teacher, I don't care where they're at, be an English focus, math focus, from first to third grade. If I can, I would raise the comprehension for those students to 100%. Once you did that, everything else would take care of itself. But what happens now is they have failing throughout the system, and they do what she says. Another retired principal comes up with a better idea than the first retired principal that had a better idea than the other retired principal 10 years ago, and they bring in another program and they flip everything, and then every teacher underneath it is frustrated as heck. Another program? We just got this one in. And it's a continual cycle of mediocrity. And that's what I'm talking. And so now to hide their mediocrity, they want to bring down the standards and they call it equity. Give me a break. We need to focus on quality, excellence.
Thank you.
So currently in District 11, less than 20% of kids are proficient in math in grades 3 through 8, and less than 35% are proficient in English language arts. So yes, our system is broken. We are failing these students. That's why we need to refocus and put all of our energy and efforts into remedying this. From kindergarten through 3rd grade, you learn to read, and from that point on, you read to learn. So we absolutely need to be focusing on those younger levels, but then the kids that are older at this point, what are we going to do for them? And that's where I'm encouraging, or hoping to encourage the district to focus all of the resources and energy into tutoring or whatever it might be. I don't have all the answers, but I will commit to working hard and researching and reaching out to teachers and those that are more experienced in this arena to figure out how we can help our students.
Thank you.
I jotted down some notes. To me, it comes down to several things. We can improve, and in District 11, I believe we are poised for success. We have a new academic master plan, we have a new strategic plan, and we are addressing many of the issues that have been mentioned already. To me, a vision of a successful system is well-trained or with professional development, educators, and that can be at every level in our schools. We want to build relationships with students so that they feel supported in their learning, and between them, educators, students, engaged families, collaborating for better achievement, better growth of our students so that they feel supported and feel that they can learn. Again, we don't lower expectations. We have high expectations for our students and our educators. And we want to give those students options that are relevant to them. In District 11, we have continued to expand career and technical education, and we have a new online school and a dual language immersion program. These are things that make education relevant to our kids, gets them engaged, and with our community supporting us, we can be far more successful. Thank you.
Thank you. I've spent my career taking over teams that have struggled, and I feel like I've learned that very rarely is something irreparably broken, and very rarely is anything perfect. We need to center ourselves around continual improvement. And what does that mean? Ask the captain of the Titanic if he was able to turn around the ship quickly. The fact of the matter is, in 2017, the year prior to Dr. Thomas's arrival, there were 11 schools on the accountability clock, priority improvement or turnaround status. Today there are 4. Things are progressing. Is it perfect? Absolutely not. We are not where we'd like to be, but thank goodness we are not where we used to be. We have to emphasize a curriculum that prioritizes the unique needs of each student and meets those unique needs in order to get ourselves to a place where we will be the premier district and we will deliver on that promise. Thank you.
Thank you.
It hurts me to admit that the system is broken. I've been an educator for a very long time. And when you consider the statistics that Lauren has just given you, which are true statistics, we are failing in our role. And so what would I do about that? I took over a school in District 20 up at Douglas Valley on the Air Force Academy, and in the time that I was there, gathered a team together, and we rose to the top 8% high-performing elementary schools in the state. And it wasn't because we had a hierarchy, it was because the hierarchy was flattened. If we can hire principals, if we can give them the autonomy to run their schools, to attract their parents, then that's where our focus should be. And our focus should always be on integrating curriculum so that we are teaching reading and writing and math and science all across the content areas. And I know we can do that because I've done it. I've had teachers who have done it. And I know that there are teachers who support those of us who want to change the direction of this district. And it's important for you to vote your values.
Thank you.
And I think you've heard it across the table. There are many things I think any one of us could point to that might be broken. And I think that, I tend to focus on what we can control. And one driving principle of mine is our role as leaders is to set the conditions for our team to be successful. And that's our role as a board, is to set the conditions for this district and our superintendent to be successful. I don't focus on outcomes. It's what are you doing? Are you doing it well? And if those two things are there, the outcomes will be there. For instance, the work we're doing in the district has led to growth in our proficiency across the board in our district, even through COVID. In grades 3 through 8 in ELA, we increased the percentage performing at or above grade level by 14%. We decreased the percentage below and well below grade level by 23%. The percent of third graders performing below and well below grade level dropped by 29%. This is all in the last year during COVID, folks, when most people thought there was a learning gap growing within the district. Now, are those things there? Yes. Are we structurally prepared to address them? We are now and today, yes. And these numbers, which that was just in ELA, I didn't touch on math, across the board our proficiency levels are growing in our district at twice the rate of any other district in this region. So the work we are doing that is being so heavily criticized is working, whether it's our academic master plan, our strategic plan, or the facilities master plan and the bond that you'll be voting on this November 2nd that will invest in the structure and the conditions that our students and our teachers need to succeed and drive the results that so many people are after. We're all after the same thing. We want our students to set the gold level in our state, not just meet it, because meeting the gold standard is not good enough in the state of Colorado.
Well, just so everyone knows, this past year's test results have not been made public, so how the president is able to extrapolate the success, I do not know. I would like to find out when the numbers for the CMAS test scores actually come out. Speaking of broken, thank you, Chris, for your extremely inflammatory anecdote about Texas. The weaponization of the news cycle is being used to divide our community, and we should have the guts to withstand the urge. It cheapens us all. Oh, and today there are only 4 schools on the list. Well, guess what? The state has withheld the data from last year. Let's just see what the new data shows, but I pray that it's good. Broken educational system? How is it broken? I live in a blue-collar neighborhood. I see the economic and cultural issues that confront my neighbors and myself. Is our system broken? No, but after 4 years of declining test scores and plummeting enrollment, especially coupled with a perversion of the social sciences for ideological reasons, it very well could be. We've given them 4 years to take us into the basement. It's time to start climbing the stairs again, together.
Thank you. I'm sorry we went over past 1:30, but they each will get 30 seconds to have a closing statement. We had so many good questions. I just want to tell you a couple others. How can we reduce violence at or in schools? How do you feel about vouchers? How do we reduce class size to make teaching and learning less painful? How do we attract more people to the teaching profession? We had a lot of good questions, so thank you, Rotarians, for providing those to us. And again, this is being recorded, and so you can get it on our website, I believe, after it's over. So now you have 30 seconds to make a closing statement, and I will start with Reverend Loma. It's going to be short. I just want to tell all of you.
Hi, bye. Thanks for having me. I'm Al Loma. You can go to www.albertloma.com and you can find out more about me. If you want to get deeper, you can go to victoryarchcoloradosprings.com on your YouTube, and you can hear me preach, and maybe I can lead you to the Lord. I don't know. But I will pray for you. And I appreciate everything that the Rotary does. They're a great organization with a long, deep history, and you have everything to be proud of. Again, my name's Al Loma, and I want your vote. And one last thing, we need 4. Without 4, all this is just talk. We need 4. And as a reverend, I recommend Lauren, Sandra Banks, and my buddy John Gustafson. We will take you in the correct direction. I guarantee it.
Thank you.
I do want to say that with all the focus on the critical race theory, racism occurs, and when it does, it needs to be addressed. History should be taught in full, factually based, without ideological emphasis. That is kind of the direction that I'm hoping to take the district, that we come back to facts and focusing on teaching kids how to read and write and understand math. I think that's the best gift that we can give our students and our children, is to put all of our funding and our time and our energy, our support of our teachers into the classroom directly. And
Thank you.
Thank you for having us here today. My interest in public education is that we invest in our kids and get every child the best education we can, a high-quality education in every school with empowered staff to make that happen. I believe our students will benefit, not just with their achievement, but with their future success. And student success leads to community success. I hope you vote for me on November 2nd, Julie Ott, and you can find more about me at electjulieott.com. Thank you.
Thank you. Exactly 30 seconds.
Thanks for having us out today, folks. This has been fun. D11 has made the promise that it will be the premier district in the Pikes Peak region, and we will deliver on that promise. We will meet the unique needs of each student, and in so doing, we will deliver high achievement. My name is Chris Wallace. I am number 7 on the ballot. If you'd like to find more information about me, Chris Wallace for D11.com. I look forward to your support, and please make sure you turn in your ballot by 7 p.m. November 2nd. Thank you.
Thank you.
My website is sandra-bankus.com. I'm number 3 on the ballot, and obviously what you've heard today is a clear choice. You can choose to go with District 11 in a new direction. You can stay with District 11 and continue on the path that it's on. And you've heard the contrast between where they are and where we want to take it. I appreciate your time and attention, and I hope to get your vote.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you again for everyone. It's an honor to come back and visit you guys again, this time up here only. We've appreciated the questions, and I've certainly been honored to serve this community, not just in the last 4 or 5 years with D11, but for quite some time. And I'm looking forward to your vote to continue my service to District 11. I'm a District 11 graduate. It's an honor to know that the work we're doing is impacting our students, including my students, your students. And it's also exciting to know that the work we're doing is working. In the last 4 years, what we've done in growth and what we've done with our district and the path that we've put it on absolutely will once again make D11 the premier district, and not only in this region, but a model district across the state. And we're already being recognized as such, and I'm looking forward to continuing that work. Vote for Sean Gullickson for D11.com.
Thank you all for your time. I'm just a blue-collar guy. I got a wife and 2 kids. I own my own business. I'm pretty simple. But I believe in institutions. I believe we need to protect them. Fix them where they need to be fixed, but never tear them down. Our terrible test scores and plunging enrollment threaten our educational institution. These deficiencies must be addressed, and that they haven't been these last 4 years is no reason to tear down this institution, no matter whose ego or pride might be tarnished. Service above self. And talk about working, I live right down the street from Mitchell High School that has 50 kids per classroom right now, that is dying to get teachers in there right now. No, it's not working. My name is John Gustafson. I sure would appreciate your vote, because I want to work to bring us all together.
Thank you.
As a retired school District 11 teacher, I believe not only teachers but also students should have representation from someone that has worked for Colorado Springs School District 11 for 14 plus years. The development of all children should be of utmost importance to everyone. We as educators, community, parents should make it a common goal to make sure all children receive a well-balanced academic education to help them become productive citizens within our society. My experience has given me the opportunity to be a good role model for all of the students, and I hope to carry that over into a board director position. My name is Rebecca Acevedo Kenderdine, and I'm number 5 on the ballot.
Thank you very much. I'd like to thank all of our panelists, all of the people who are running for District 11. Again, this is being recorded. My time is up. So back to President-elect Kay.
I just wanted to thank everyone. Look at the sheets on the table that have our activities. We look forward to seeing you next week and at some of these fun activities we have coming up. And the meeting is hereby adjourned. Thank you.